Hey, it's Kithran, and today's video is all about fleets. In case you're wondering what they actually are, basically fleets are Star Trek Online's equivalent of World of Warcraft's clans or Elite Online's corporations. They're the basic organisation of players that players can create, and like any of those sort of things, there are a bunch of benefits you get from them. Where you access them, you've got your fleet menu up here, and this will show you number of tabs. Overview is what it says on the tin. Really, it's an overview of the fleet. Fleets have a number of holdings that can be built up. Can run a number of projects, and these take a lot of time to build up. This is why, really, as a newbie, you may think, great, I'm going to create my own fleet. That is something of a trap. If you look at this, for example, Starbase Tier 5, you need to have gone 13,000 Starbase XP to get that up, and within that, another 750,000 XP from running projects to just get the Starbase holding maxed out. And there are a number of holdings. There's the Starbase, which is where we're at the moment here. The Fleet Colony, a dilithium mine, an embassy on New Romulus, K-13 station, the Spire on the Dyson Sphere, and Research Lab in the Delta Quadrant. Each one of those has got a whole bunch of upgrades and etc. you can do. A total of 85 of them. And that's what the fleet level means, is how many of the upgrades have you done. So it's not the sort of thing really that you can realistically do as a newbie and go, right, I want to create my own fleet and have all the benefits. Not without a lot of work, a lot of time. There is a sort of next step up in terms of player arrangements from fleets, which is the Armada. As you can see, the fleet I'm in is the UFP, and within that fleet, within the Armada, the sort of top fleet can have 3 fleets under it, and each of those can have 3 fleets as well. So that gives you a total of 13 fleets can be sort of grouped together, and you get a bonus, as you see here. So for example, being in the top fleet, you're getting a 20% experience point bonus, a 5% dilithium discount. If you're in one of the middle rank ones, it's just 10% on each, and the lower ones, it's only a 5% bonus to experience, but you get a 20% dilithium discount. Now, I mentioned you got a whole load of tasks that you can do at the various holdings, various projects. They can't really, they can still be run once you maxed out, because you're needing still to maintain your fleet, shall we say. I'll go into what needs to be maintained in a bit. But when you win an Armada, one of the big benefits, other than those experience point gains and the discounts, is you can contribute to projects being run by other people in the fleet. So if you look here, There's only just this one project being run here. And you can see this particular project, it takes energy credits, fleet marks, and civilian duty officers. Now when you contribute to a task, if I just click on contribute there, I've got a sliding scale to how much energy credits I want to donate, what my total energy credits are, and how many fleet credits I would earn from doing that. You see my total fleet credits down there. And fleet credits are important because that's what you use to get things, basically, from your fleet. Let's see if we can find a good example. Yeah, see this one's requiring specific types of duty officers to be donated. This one, this one is unload surplus fleet marks. Now this is actually one that wants to be mentioned. You only ever want to contribute to the unload surplus fleet marks project if you are desperate to get fleet credits. For one very good reason. Click on contribute here. Take that down so that I'm just doing a nice... Okay, so 5 fleet marks get me 125 fleet credits. Now if we can find another one with fleet marks open, which often actually can be quite hard with fleets because they're what tend to fill up first. Because the only use for fleet marks is to contribute to fleet projects. I've got to click through here. Oh, there's a new one there. No, but that's needing fleet credits. Ah, there's one. Right. So if I was to take that right down and have that on 5, 250 fleet credits. Basically, every fleet mark gets you 50 fleet credits unless you are donating to the Unload Surplus Fleet Marks project. That only gets you 25 fleet credits per mark. So that's something to be aware of. But you can contribute as much as you like. You can see that's going to get me 21,000. I say OK. That hops up and they've been contributed. There you go. Once everything has been contributed, you've then got a timer that starts for that actual project to complete, which is another reason why, as a new fleet, even if you had all the resources in the world, it's still going to take you time to get a fleet built up. But anyway, that's enough about that, how to get the credits and everything. Let's dock at the Fleet Starbase and I'll give you a quick tour. Now one thing I will say is, at the main Fleet Starbase, you've got this talk to the transporter operator, and he's got ways to get to all the other fleet holdings from here. You can speak to him and it will just take you to any of the others. So you can transwarp to the colony world, you can click on the transport to other things, and you've got Shuttle Fleet Embassy, Dilithium Mine, Fleet Spire, Research Lab, K13. So you can get to all of them from here, and from any of the other ones you can always get back to the Fleet Starbase. One thing to be aware of though, you can't use that really as a shortcut to get around the galaxy, because when you return to sector space, it's the sector space you left to first enter one of the fleet holdings. But inside the Starbase it's different to Space Dock. You've got various things that can be done as upgrades, so like these pictures of all the various enterprises. We've got bunch of different uniforms and environment suits over here and so on. Lots of tribbles around that you can kick for the hell of it. We've got a bar area up there and so on. This is a transporter room where we came in. Now, I mentioned you can get things with fleet marks. Let's just show you a quick example. If we head over... Oh, That's not what I'm looking for. Let's head down here. I think there is one down here. Maybe? Oh no, that's holodeck. No. Okay. Ah. Here we go. Commission duty officers. There we go. We can buy duty officers, for example, from this particular guy here, and you see they cost fleet credits. And scientist, tactical, at various rarities, and if you're not aware, the higher the rarity of the duty officer, they give a bonus, a flat bonus to any duty officer task they do. Now, you've seen the fleet marks. Now, how do you get fleet marks as well is another important thing. The easy way to do it is by running various task force operations, and that can get you a small number, or if you choose to get fleet marks as the main reward from it, you'll get obviously considerably more. On each holding, you've got an officer like this guy that'll offer you a quest that'll give you maybe 20 or so fleet marks from doing. But there's another way of getting them, which is on the main starbase. When you come down here, which is basically directly opposite the transporter, and this little terminal here, it's hidden just around the corner here, you can file a commendation report. As you say there, in order to file a report in a commendation category, you must have earned 110,000 experience in that category. You see, a number of these are greyed out, but a number of them aren't. So, for example, development. And what this does is it lets you start a duty officer project. It takes 8 hours, and I know it says there it rewards 15 expertise, but it also rewards 75, or if you crit 100 fleet marks. So later stages, this is a reasonable way of getting fleet marks. Obviously you're not going to have earned 10,000 commendation XP a day, almost certainly, but every few days you're going to get it in some categories. It's down to how much you're playing, how much duty officer tasks you're doing, but that's certainly a reasonable alternate source of fleet marks for you. Now, there's not much really to get here. Now, one of the first places you're probably going to want to actually go when you're in a fleet and when you want to get gear is the Spire, and that is for one simple reason. Your generic upgrades for your weapons will maybe, if you've been getting them from missions, give you up to say 30% bonus to damage for your damage type. Well, if we head to the Spire, which, well, we've got the loading screen, so let's just pause. Right, we're at our fleet Spire, which if you were in the Allied Sphere space and you were to fly north from the map you first appear in, you'd end up in the fleet Spire as well. But let's just dock at this. And here we are. In each of the fleet holdings, by the way, you've got access to the bank, the exchange, and for mail. You just need to run around them a bit and find where they are in each individual holding, because they're always in the same place in each individual holding, but I must admit I can't remember where they all are. I'd have to run around. Now there's this guy, this Ferengi, opposite where you beam in over there. He's probably the first person you're going to speak to when you're buying stuff, when you want to buy stuff, because he sells, as well as warp cores and singularity drives and hangar pets and what have you, atmospheric flight training, critical hit consoles and critical damage consoles. And almost certainly the ones you're going to be wanting initially are critical hit consoles. What these are, there is a console for every weapon type, so beams, cannons, mines, torpedoes, and every damage type, so anti-proton, chronoton, disruptor, photon, phaser, plasma, plasma torpedoes, and so on. The weapon type ones give you 27.9% damage to the weapon type and 1.6% critical chance. The actual damage type ones are 31.9% damage type and 1.6 critical chance. So you can see, as I've been saying all along, it's always better to be going for consistent damage type and consoles that improve that damage type. But consider the best you can get from mission is a 30% phaser one, for example, or 30% disruptor one. You can't even get those for every single damage type. You see why it's worthwhile being in a fleet. And these ones, they not only do they have that, sort of the better damage, but they also have the increase to critical chance or to critical damage. And the general rule of thumb is you want to be increasing critical damage first as your priority. You will reach a point where potentially where you've got enough boost to your critical chance, so you can start concentrating on critical damage. But early on, when you're getting your first upgrades from the fleet, that is almost certainly not going to be the case, which is why I say probably the critical hit consoles are going to be the first thing you're going to be getting. And it's worthwhile getting a full set of those for your ship if you're doing damage. It is an easy upgrade. There's all sorts of other things you can get from the various fleet holdings. I'm not going to bother going through all of them. I will just mention though one thing you can get at the dilithium mine. If we contact traffic control here and beam to surface, and whenever you transwarp to a fleet holding, it's as if you've arrived there through normal space. So you're always having to do this sort of two-step process. But at the fleet dilithium mine, you've got this guy over here, the mining foreman, and you can speak to him, and he's got 3 duty officer assignments. And the useful one is this one down the bottom. Additional dilithium refining capacity, refine 500 ore. And what that means is basically, if you had a free assignment slot, you can do a task, only lasts 5 seconds, so literally you just need to make sure you've got a free slot, you kick it off, and bam, you've got an extra 500 dilithium refined. And you can do that every 24 hours. So it's a useful one to find. It's got a couple of other assignments as well. Mine dilithium motherlode, that gets you primarily dilithium ore, although not that good a chance of success. And motherlode of valuable minerals, which basically gets you cash. There is a way you can improve your chances at that, which is you can speak to the personnel officer up here, because this particular personnel officer has duty officers for sale, which are minors. Various levels, various costs, up to this guy here that costs 500,000 fleet credits. I've not got that much, which is why it's in red. I can't actually buy any of these anyway because I've not got room for another duty officer at the moment. I'd have to get rid of one. And incidentally, if you're not aware, you never just get rid of a duty officer. You can almost always, if you're in any sort of fleet, in an armada, you're always going to be able to find some project you'll be able to donate the bridge officer you want to get rid of to. And that will get you 300 or so fleet credits for contributing a bridge officer, a duty officer rather. So yeah, that's a worthwhile thing to be doing. But anyway, that's a very quick sort of summary of fleets in Star Trek Online. There are a whole bunch of holdings. I could spend hours going around all of them and showing you all the various little things you can buy there. But to be honest, where's the fun in that? You know, you can get out there and explore if you're in a fleet. The one other thing I will say is down here, you see your fleet map invitations? You can get invited to someone else's fleet map if they've got facilities that you're needing to use that your fleet doesn't have. However, I will say some of them still require your fleet to have certain resources available before you can take advantage of something on someone else's fleet map. Because everything you buy, as well as the stuff, so let's just quickly speak to this guy here, as well as the stuff you're seeing here, it also takes a little bit from the resources of the fleet itself, and those resources are replenished by various projects, and that's what I was meaning. You know, sort of even when the fleet is sort of maxed out, there are still projects need to be run to replenish those supplies, which is why if you've joined a random fleet and they say, oh, you need to have donated a certain amount before you can buy anything from the store, that isn't a con of any sort. You know, it's a practical requirement to ensure that people aren't just joining the fleet, buying stuff that is going to be draining resources out of the fleet, and then just leaving. So that's the reason why you'll often see fleets that have some sort of requirement that you need to have contributed to a certain amount of stuff before you've got access to all the stores. But anyway, I hope that you found this useful, and I hope to see you next time. Kith on out.